Could Luffy win a fight with a Hydra in Mushoku Tensei? With skills that can grate skin and cut bones, so how is Luffy gonna deal with that? Keep watching to see if the Rubberman got a shot against this regenerating beast. But wait, there is more. This Hydra got a weird sound wave barrier that stops long range attack, and if you get close, watch out for the acidic bloods from its open wound. It's like nature's own defense system cranked up to 11. Now, Luffy is no pushover either. He got his gear 5th, turning him into some kind of rubber cartoon god. But is that enough to take down a monster that just won't stay down? What happened when Luffy's punches meets those flash grating skills? Can he even land a hit through that sound barrier? This is gonna be a wild fight, any fans? An unstoppable Rubberman versus an unkillable Hydra. Who's gonna come out on top? Let's find out. Now, before we dive into this epic showdown, let's take a closer look at Luffy's arsenal. You might think you know all about his rubber power, but trust me, there is way more to it than just stretching. Remember when we all thought Luffy's fruit was just Gomu Gomu no Mi? Rubber fruit? Well, surprise! It turns out to be actually a mythical zone type fruit called Hito Hito no Mi, Modo Nika. This bad boy doesn't just make Luffy stretchy, it gives him the power of the sun god, Nika. Talk about a real power up. But let's start with the basic. Luffy's rubbery body isn't just for show, it makes him immune to electricity and let physical attack bounce right off. Unless you got some haki, good luck trying to punch this guy. Moving along to Luffy's gear mode, Gear 2nd is like Luffy's own version of a turbo boost. He pumps blood through his body faster, making him stronger and quicker. At first, it was pretty rough on his body, but now, he's casually pumping it up like your daily caffeine run. Gear 3 is where things get really big, like literally. Luffy inflates his bones to a giant size for some powerful attacks. Do you remember when he used to shrink after using it? Those days are long gone. But hold on, there's more. Gear 4 takes things to a whole new level. Luffy inflates his muscle like his 3rd gear and coat his limb in haki, and he have 3 flavors: Bowman for power, Tankman for defense, and Snakeman for speed. Each one got its own special move that will make your jaw drop. And just when you thought Luffy couldn't get any stronger, he pulls out Gear 5th. This is where things get really wild, not just for his opponent but for his surrounding too. It's the awakened form of his devil fruit, and it lets Luffy bend reality like he's in the cartoon. He can turn the environment into rubber and do things that shouldn't even be possible. But Luffy's real strength isn't just in his power, it is his ability to adapt, his never say die attitude, and his crazy imagination. He is always coming up with new ways to use his power and learning from every fight. So, what does all this mean for our rubber boys fight against the Hydra? Well, Luffy's got a ton of tricks up his sleeve. He can hit hard with Gear 3rd, move fast with Gear 2nd, and mix things up with Gear 4th. And if things get really tough, he got his Gear 5th to turn the whole battlefield into his playground. But remember, the Hydra is no pushover either. Those flash grating skills and that sound wave barrier are gonna be tough to deal with, even for Luffy. And let's not forget about that pesky regeneration. What can you guys think? Can Luffy's wild arsenal of power overcome the Hydra's defense? Or will the regenerating beast prove too much for our rubber hero? Keep watching to see how this epic battle unfolds. So we have seen what Luffy can do, but what about this Hydra? Let me tell you, this thing is not your average monster. It got the defense that will make even the toughest pirate think twice. This Hydra got 9 hits. Yeah, you heard me right, 9. And each one of these hits can move independently or team up on one target. It's like fighting 9 enemies at the same time. How's Luffy gonna handle that? Before Luffy thinks about attacking from a distance, the Hydra got this crazy sound wave shield. Any attack from more than 10 feet away, it just gets shut down. Poof, and it's gone. So all those long range attacks Luffy got, they might not even reach the Hydra. Now, let's talk about those shark-like skills. They are not just for show. These things are so tough they can douse steel, and if you touch them, they will grate your skin right off. In the show, the skills are sharp enough to cut through bones. Ouch. Oh, did I mention the Hydra's blood is acidic? Yeah, if you manage to cut this thing off, its blood will start burning your flesh if you are not careful with it. Talk about adding insult to injury. But here's the real kicker, this thing can regenerate. You cut off a head, it will just regrow back. Unless you can somehow find a way to stop its regeneration right away, you're just exhausting yourself faster if you intend to go in without a plan. And even if you do manage to cut off a head, don't think you're safe. That severe hit, it is still dangerous. It will thrash around like a whip, trying to take you down with it. This Hydra just doesn't give up easily. Now, the Hydra got one more trick up its sleeve, or should I say, down its throat. When it's really in trouble, it can breathe fire. Yeah, you hear me, fire. From all 9 hits, can you imagine the heat? So, how do you beat this thing? Well, according to the legend of Hercules, to defeat the Hydra, all its heads must be cut off or destroyed, with the resulting wound seared to prevent regeneration. Sound easy, right? But here's the catch. The Hydra is smart. Even if you manage to sear one of its neck, it can bite that part off and regrow a new head anyway. What do you guys think? Can Luffy find a way around these defenses, or is the Hydra just too much for our rubber hero? Let's see how this epic battle plays out. Alright, so we have seen what Luffy and the Hydra can do, but what happens when they actually go head to head? Let's break it down and see if our rubber boy stands a chance against this monster. First up, Luffy's long range attack. You know, his gum pistol and his bazooka. Well, they might not be much help here. The Hydra got this crazy sound wave shoe that stop any attacks from more than 10 feet away, so Luffy is gonna have to get up close and personal if he wants to land a hit. But getting close isn't gonna be easy either. Remember those skills that can create flash? Yeah, they're gonna be a big problem for Luffy. Even his gear 4 form might struggles here. Sure, Bowman's pack a punch, but those skills might just shrug it off. Tankman is great for defense, but it won't be much help if Luffy can't hurt the Hydra. And Snakeman, it's fast, but speed alone won't cut it against those tough skills and regeneration. So what is Luffy gonna do? Well, he might have to get creative with his gear 5. This is where things get interesting. Gear 5 let Luffy do some crazy stuff, like turning the floor into a rubber or making himself giant size. Maybe he could use this power to find a way around the Hydra defense. But here's the thing, even if Luffy managed to land a hit, he is still got to deal with that regeneration. Unless he can figure a way out to burn or freeze the wound, the Hydra is just gonna keep growing back its head. And let's not forget about that acidic blood. One wrong move and Luffy could end up in some serious trouble. What do you guys think? Can Luffy Rubber's power overcome the Hydra's defense? Or is this monster just too tough even for the future Pirate Kings to handle? Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but wait, Luffy got his Haki, right? And you are not wrong. Haki could definitely give Luffy an edge, but remember, the Hydra is not just tough, it's smart. It's got 9 heads working together and it's not gonna make things easy for Luffy. And here's another things to consider, stamina. Luffy gear forms are powerful, but they take a lot out of him. The Hydra on the other hand just keep regenerating. It's like fighting a boss with unlimited health while your mana keeps draining. Not exactly fair, isn't it? But hey, this is Luffy we're talking about, the guy who never gives up. No matter how tough things gets, maybe he will find a way to use the environment to his advantage, or comes out with some crazy new techniques we have never seen before. One thing's for sure, this fight will be epic to watch. Imagine Luffy bouncing around dodging attack and fire breath, or trying to land hits on those super tough skills. It did be like a rubber pinball in a 9-headed monster machine. So we have seen how Luffy and the Hydra stack up against each other, but there's one big problem we haven't talked about it yet, and that is that pesky regeneration. It is like trying to cut down a tree that keeps growing back faster than you can chop it off. How is Luffy gonna deal with that? Let's break it down. Luffy is tough, no doubt about it. He can take a beating and keep on going, but the Hydra, this thing is on a whole another level. Cut off a head and it will regrow right back. It's like fighting a monster that never gets tired and never runs out of tricks. Now here's the real kicker. To stop those heads from regrowing back, you have got to either burn or freeze the wound right away. Sounds simple, right? Well, not so fast. Remember, Luffy's gotta do this while dodging attacks, fire breath, and those nasty flash grating skill. Oh, and did I mention he's gotta do it 9 times? Yeah, not exactly a walk in the park. Now hold on, you might be thinking Luffy's got a secret weapon up his sleeve. Remember Gear 2nd? The thing where Luffy plump his blood faster and starts steaming. Well, according to the show, that might just be hot enough to cauterize the Hydra's wound. But here's the catch, Luffy's gotta get close enough to use it, and he's gotta be quick about it. And let's not forget, while Luffy is busy trying to burn one head, the other 8 aren't just gonna sit around twiddling their thumb. They are gonna be snapping and thrashing, making it super hard for Luffy to focus on one single spot. Now some of you might be thinking, hey, what about Luffy's allies? Couldn't they help out? And you are not wrong. If Luffy has some buddies with fire or ice power, that could make things a whole lot easier. But remember, this is a one-on-one fight. It is just Luffy and the Hydra. Mano a mano. Or should I say, Rubber a monster. So what do you guys think? Does Luffy have what it takes to overcome the Hydra's regeneration? Or is this one monster is just too tough even for the future Pirate King to handle? Perhaps Luffy truly needed some help from this undying monster. Alright, so we have seen how tough this fight would be for Luffy on his own. But what if he didn't have to face the Hydra alone? That's right folk, we are talking about the power of teamwork. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but wait, isn't this supposed to be a one-on-one fight? Well, yeah, but hear me out. Luffy is always been at his best when he's got his crew backing him up. Remember all those times he seems totally outmatched, but still came out on top? It is because he had his friends there to support him. So let's imagine for a second that Luffy could bring some allies into this fight. Who could he team up with to take down this regenerating monster? Do you know who I really think could make a difference? Zoro and Sanji. Just think about it, Zoro's sword skill would be perfect for slicing off those Hydra's head, and Sanji, his Diable Jambe, could cauterize those necks before they have a chance to regrow back. It's like they were made for this fight. Now let's talk about how they could work together. Imagine this, Luffy using his gear forth to keep the Hydra distracted, bouncing around and dodging those nasty attacks. Meanwhile, Zoro sneaks in close, ready to start chopping heads. As soon as the head comes off, boom! Sanji is there with a flaming kick to seal the deal. The exact replication of the scene in Mushoku Tensei. But it's not just about having the right skill, it's about how they use them together. Luffy's always been great at coming up with crazy plan on the fly, and with his gear fifth, he could turn the whole battlefield into their playground. Maybe he could use his rubber power to launch Zoro at the Hydra, or bounce Sanji right into the Hydra while it is trying to regrow its head. And let's not forget about the defense. While Luffy is keeping the Hydra busy, his teammate could watch his back, they could warn him about incoming attacks or help him dodge those nasty flame attacks. It's all about working together, covering each other's weaknesses and amplifying their strengths. And this kind of teamwork isn't new for Luffy, he has been doing it since day one. Remember Arlong Park or Enri's lobby? Every time Luffy faced an enemy that seems unbeatable, he had his friends there to back him up, and every time they have found a way to win. Could a team up be the key to defeating the Hydra? Would Luffy be able to overcome this regenerating beast with a little help from his friend? Or is this Hydra just too tough even for a team effort? So we have seen how teamwork could help Luffy, but what is the final verdict on this crazy battle? Let's take a breakdown one last time. Luffy's got some serious challenge here. That soundwave barrier, those nasty skill, and don't forget that pesky regeneration. It is like trying to punch jello while dodging acid rain. But here's the thing, Luffy is not just strong, he is creative. And in the anime, sometimes imagination is the strongest weapon. Maybe he could use his gear fifth to turn the Hydra's head into rubber or bound its fire breath right back at it. Still, even with all these wild ideas, Luffy might need some backup. That is where his crews comes in. In One Piece, Luffy is always strongest when he is fighting with his friends. So, what do you guys think? Could Luffy and his crew take down the Hydra, or would they end up as Monster Chow? Share your craziest battle plan in the comment section. Subscribe if you want more anime crossover fights. I have a few currently under work, but before you go, here are some videos that might interest you.